Hi guys, it's Bram here, and we can probably see Paint with Bram, right? Fancy t-shirts now. If you want one of these, let me know, or you can go to the website paintwithbram.com and find your own little t-shirt. They're shipping for free right now. Pretty cool little design. But I'm going to talk about the brushes that I have available now and what comes in the set and what to expect, and just a little bit about how to care for these brushes. Now, when I talk about the care for these brushes, you can actually apply that care to the same, to all your brushes. It doesn't matter if it's my brushes or another brand. You want to care for your brushes regardless, okay? So we've got in our set of brushes, we have 6 brushes, and I think they're 68 bucks. But they seem to be really good quality. These are the ones that Steve and I tested out all last year to see how they would hold up to the rigors of painting in this method. And we put them through it. So here's the 2-inch brush. Very nice little brush. Again, the 2-inch, and then here's the 1-inch. And I'll say Paint with Bram on them. I still can't believe that I have a line of brushes out. Never expected to do this. When Steve decided to kind of take a little bit of time and reevaluate things, especially his health, we were going to come out with brushes for him, but instead we switched games here and we put Paint with Bram on them. So it's the same brushes that we would have been using for Steve. Of course, with Steve's blessing. I wouldn't do that without his blessing. And so you got a 2-inch and a 1-inch. You've got a really nice fan brush. It's a super nice little fan brush. It's not too thick. Sometimes they get a little too thick this way and you got too many hairs almost. Some people may like that. This is the kind that we like, and this is the kind that I like to use. This is really good for seascapes. This is really good for tree making. It's really good for just about anything you can imagine making with a fan brush. You've got that one, and then of course you guys know my affinity for the not script liner, but the filbert. And when you get this filbert, all of them, some of them are worse than others. This is a brand new one. So I've got all new brushes out, and I'll show you what they look like after you clean them a few times. There's going to be a fixative in this, and I just usually will knock it out of the brush just kind of like this, and that will usually do it. Sometimes you have to actually thinner clean it before you use it because they're really stiff when you get them new. That's just to keep the shape of the brush. You've got my favorite brush, or at least for now it's my favorite, the long-haired script liner. This is a long-haired script liner, and I won't show the brand on this one, but this is a typical script liner that most people are used to painting with. This does pretty good. This is a really good one, by the way. And this will do the job. This will do the job better. This holds so much paint, and once you get used to this, you'll never go back to one of these. I keep one of these for signing my names a little bit easier with a smaller one. Other than that, making tree limbs, you can make almost all your tree limbs in one go with this big guy. It holds so much paint. And then the last little brush, kind of a dark horse for my favorite right now, because I've been using it in the last few paintings. It's a little blender brush. I've always loved blender brushes, but I've never had one with my own name on it. But this is a good one. And let's see, I actually have one laying here. This one's been abused, so don't get on to me after, especially when I'm telling you to care for your brushes. This was a trial brush that we had. You can see it's the same one. But this one's got a rivet in it now. A couple of rivets, actually. But this is the one they sent us, and this one's been put through the ringer. But it's still soft. It looks filthy, and it has a little paint residue on the back and maybe a little bit right there, but it's still super soft. But this one's softer. These will shed. I will tell you, especially about these, they will shed as you're using them. That's just typical of any of these little fine-haired brushes. They'll shed, and sometimes they'll get bristles going every which way. But if you keep them, and I'll talk about how to clean this one especially here in just a second. If you keep this wiped out really good, this will last you forever, because you don't need many of those hairs. All right, so let's talk about cleaning these things. And I'm going to show you one. This one's been through probably 70 or 80 or more paintings. That's what our trial brushes, or our samples, that's one of our samples from March of 2022. So we started using these in March of 2022, and Steve has used it. I've used it, and I've used it, it may be 100 paintings at this point, because I would take these around the room and touch up things for folks, and I was always using them and cleaning them. So this one's been used and abused, but it's super soft. There's no real paint collected in there. And that's because I've cared for it really well. It is stained. It is stained, and they will stain the first time you use these. Look how clean this is versus this green one. It's just a stain. There's no paint really. The paint has stained the bristles, but there's no paint residue in there, okay? So they won't look like this forever, guys. They're going to stain as soon as you start using them. So just be aware of that. So that's kind of what they start looking like. This one is a brand new one. Super soft still. Very soft to the touch. But you can see it's already stained. I've probably 10 or 15 paintings with that one. But again, it's no paint, nothing in there. It's just stained. Now, one thing about any time you buy new brushes, you can expect that one hair or a couple hairs are going to come out of these brushes. That's just going to happen with any brand of brush you buy. If you're getting a lot of hairs coming out, you need to let me know. That's not happening. We had 6 of these to try, and I've still got all 6 of them. They all still work. I just grabbed one of them because I used it today. So, but a couple of hairs coming out, normal. They come out on your paint, you just take it and go poop, like that, and it goes away. If you start seeing a lot, you can always let me know. Again, you're not buying from a major corporation here. This is Paint with Bram. It's just me. So if something happens, you need to let me know, and I'll make it right. But I don't expect that. That's not something to expect, really. So, cleaning these things. I'm not being sponsored by Gamsol or Gamblin or Jerry's Artorama, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to be safe, if you're trying to keep your brushes looking really good, you want a really good odorless mineral spirits, and this is the gold standard for safety right here. This bucket is $52. It's a 1 gallon jug of odorless mineral spirits, and this will clean your brushes really well, but it's also going to keep your lungs going. Always use any of this, even if it's the safest in a well-ventilated area. If you can clean outside, it's even better. If you can clean with a little respirator, I have one that I wear when I go out into the garage to clean brushes. That's even more safe, okay? And I wear really nice heavy-duty gloves to do this with. So this is your gold standard. Please stop going to Lowe's, Home Depot, or any hardware store and buying your paint thinner or your mineral spirits. They don't work. They work. Well, I should back up. They do work. They work great for cleaning. 10 years down the road, they're probably doing a good job on your lungs too. And if you don't use gloves as you're cleaning, or if it gets on you, that stuff goes into your skin. This stuff is still a hazardous chemical. You need to respect it, and you need to buy the best you can if you value your health. So please buy something good. Other brands of odorless mineral spirits, Mona Lisa is fairly good. There is one that you can get at a hardware store, but Jerry's also sells it, called Sunnyside. It's odorless mineral spirits. It has no odor. This has no odor, of course. But Sunnyside is actually a pretty good one. Still not as safe as this. So find a good odorless mineral spirits that's safe. And that's also one of the reasons I want to start switching more over to the water mixable oils as we start, keep going. I'm getting used to those. But for now, I still enjoy the traditional oils, so I'm going to go with the safest possible solution. So something safe. Don't go to a hardware store and get your paint thinner or your mineral spirits. So as far as cleaning the brushes, pretty much standard. You clean these the normal way. I like to have 2 buckets. And I like to, the first cleaning after I've cleaned is I just barely let, I'll use the dirty one. Barely let the bristles touch the paint thinner. Come to a paper towel and wipe most of that out. Just a little bit on the ends of the bristles will get most of that paint out of there. Then go into your screen. Go in there and clean this brush out. Let that soak in. Take it to your beater bucket. Whatever your beater bucket, it may have a broom handle, it may have a rack in it, whatever. Don't go crazy and go, don't Chuck Norris it to death, okay? Instead, just kind of rake that in there like that. The more pressure and the harder you beat this thing over your beater rack, the more bristles are going to break. And your brush is going to, I have some old ones that are worn down to the little nubs. And it's not because it's a bad brush, it's because I didn't know how to clean the brush really well when I first started. So go to your second bucket after you've done the first clean on a paper towel, and then go in the bucket, clean, rake across that screen, go into your last bucket, super clean thinner, make sure it's clean thinner. If you use soupy thinner that's got a lot of paint in it, you're going to take that up into your brush, and eventually it's going to make this brush start drying up, and you start getting pretty solid. And you don't want to do that. So you want to use clean thinner at the end. And what I like to do is kind of press, and you'll see some of that residue keep coming out of there. Just kind of press on that screen until you don't see any residue. Take it to the beater rack and just lightly rake across it. Dry it off with a paper towel. Make sure you're also cleaning the ferrules of these brushes and keeping your handles nice and clean. I just don't think it shows well when you have paint all caked down your brush. That tells me that you're not cleaning your brush really well. And maybe I'm being judgmental about that. But so clean these pretty much like we normally do. The fan, the script liner, and the filbert, you should never rake these across your beater rack. These are meant to be, these are small brushes. They don't need that, especially this one and the fan. Well, actually all of them. Don't do any of them. I just said that. Take them into paint thinner, rub it across your screen in your bucket, and dry these things off, and they should be fine. If you need to, especially for the script liner, and I do it on the filbert sometimes, I'll have some mineral oil. I don't like baby oil, but I'll have some mineral oil that I will clean this, and then I will, every time I use this, I put a little mineral oil back in it, and well, here's one I've been using. Maybe have a little shine to it. It's got some oil in it. I will shape it back, and then I will put the little plastic cap back on it just to keep it shaped nice and clean, especially if I'm traveling. Sometimes they get bent and they get a little misshapen. But make sure you put oil in this thing every time. If you don't, it will dry out and get crusty. You can get it back with a little bit of cleaning, so that's not a big deal. But if you take care of it now, you can use it more when you need it. So mineral oil works. Other oils probably work. The only thing you want to do, mineral oil is a non-drying oil, so you're going to want to thinner clean this before you use it. So usually I'm going to paint thinner with this brush anyway for tree limbs and all the little things that we do with this guy. But always clean it before you use it. That over here. The last one to talk about, let me back up one more step. You can also put a little oil in that, and it will get more of the paint out of the filbert. Same thing for the fan brush. You can put a little bit of oil, but again, clean them before you use them. Mineral oil is a non-drying oil, and you don't want your paint to not ever dry. For this one, I'm just going to use the paper towel here like this. Okay? I like to just barely get a little bit of paint thinner. I don't even let maybe 2 hairs hit this paint thinner, okay, if this was a bucket. And then I will take it to a paper towel, and I'll just kind of wipe this thing off, because this is not meant to have paint caked in it. And that will usually keep it nice and clean. Never dip this guy all the way down in your paint bucket and rub it on your screen. It ruins these brushes. These are super soft hairs, and it's just going to ruin it. So sometimes I'll even take a paper towel that has some thinner residue and clean it that way. I don't put any paint thinner on the brush. That's probably the best method. But if you're very careful and you just kind of go and get just a drop and then go to a paper towel or a towel, wipe that off, it'll last you forever. Again, I think I showed, here's the sample brush. It's still super soft. It doesn't look like it is, but it is still super soft. It's probably got a little paint in there because I've abused this one. But this is a 1.5 year use there. All right, so there's the brushes. There's a little bit about how to clean them, how to care for them. The biggest thing for any type of brush that you can get the best mineral spirits you can get, odorless, and make sure you're cleaning those brushes a couple times, and keep going to progressively cleaner paint thinner or mineral spirits as you're cleaning. They should last you a long time, guys. These brushes seem to be good. We've used them for a while now, and I'm happy with them. So you can go to paintwithbram.com and pick up a set. For now, we're only selling, like I said, the sets, not individual brushes, but we may do that down the road. But thank you guys for all the support. We've already sold one set of these, one order, and the second order will be in next week to start shipping out to people that have already pre-ordered them. They're going fairly quick, even on the second order. So if you need brushes, great ones to pick up. If you have any issues, you know who to contact. It's me. There's no middle person to go to. I don't expect issues, but if you have any issues with them, just contact me. I'll take care of it, make sure it's right. Thank you guys for your support. I try to get on YouTube more often. I've been trying to do some videos. I've got the one behind me here I just did for a video, so we'll have that one up probably tomorrow. And I will see you guys down the road. Take care and stay safe.